everybody.
Hey.
It's Caramel.
And chocolate.
So we have a new location today.
Yes. You're getting some full body today.
You getting some full body. We got mad colors going on.
Just in case you were ever wondering, we do wear pants when we do the reviews.
We do. We do. So we are so late doing this review.
Just a little.
Yeah.
Okay, like 2 weeks.
Has it been 2?
Is it 2 weeks? When did Maleficent come out?
When did we go see it? It's been a while, y'all.
Yeah.
We went and saw Maleficent, and we are about to do our review. I was going to speak for us both, but we're going to do our review. So, I think it's your turn first.
Is it? Oh, no. She would bring the one I'm like trying to recall my memory. Like, so Maleficent is the movie about Maleficent. So it's the second one, I think.
Mm-hmm. Mistress of Evil.
Yes. So good, you guys. This, you have, of course, all the people that have been there before. You have, what is her? Angelina Jolie. Mm-hmm. You have the young lady that still plays the princess.
Princess Aurora.
Princess Aurora. You still have her. You still have her king, her prince that she's with and everything.
Do we need to come back and do after we do our research?
Right. There's with the people.
The ones that did.
Sherelle's gonna comment in the bottom. She's good at that. Me, I be forgetting that I need to go and update.
I will be no help.
But in this, it shows them trying to bring together two kingdoms. Two queendom, or kingdom and a queendom, right? And that's just the mixing. That's what this movie is mainly about. And also, it's also focusing on the power trip of the queen, who is the princess.
Hold on a second. Kyron! Come here. Come here. We're going to start this over. And we're going to learn
I think that we should do
this.
I think we should leave it in there.
Didn't we just have a whole about you being quiet and then you start being the loudest you've been all night? Say hi to the people. No.
It's too late now.
Let them know when you start being so loud. We had a whole discussion. He's been quiet the whole time. Until now.
Listen, this is real life.
It is.
This is what we do out here in these streets.
This day. We also have another guest.
Yeah.
She's walking around here too. You may hear her bark. Her name is Nika.
Something be happening.
Nika Marie Munnerlin. So.
Aww. So cute. So yeah, and it's talking about the power trip of the prince's mother and just how she is awful. So that's kind of a gist. Are we doing spoilers or no spoilers?
Yeah, we can spoil at this point.
So at this point, spoiler alert, right?
Mm-hmm.
We haven't really spoiled anything up to this point. So listen, you get 2 seconds to get off of here. That's enough. If you haven't left by now, you want to be spoiled.
Yeah, you want
so
it.
So you're welcome. In this movie, it's really starting off with Princess Aurora. Well, Queen Aurora, I guess, because she's over what is the name of the creatures, basically. She's queen of the creatures, right?
She's queen of the Moors.
The Moors, that's their name.
I don't know why I'm remembering any of this.
That's good. Listen, she should have started. But she gets engaged to a human, which is because that's how they're described in the movie, right? To a human. And these kingdoms, if you're not familiar with it, which I'm updating you because it's also things that I was learning, they're across the river from each other. They're not far. They're across the river. And so basically that's how the movie starts. The movie starts with Princess Aurora, or Queen Aurora, who is now engaged to the prince, like, Mom, who is Maleficent, I want you to come to dinner to meet his family. And Maleficent is like, first of all, you're not marrying a human. That's not happening. They're a hot disaster. No. And she's
even though Aurora's a human.
Right.
She's
it's
a whole human.
But you want me to marry a tree, though? It's not going to happen, Mom. They're cute and all, and they tall, but it's not going to happen. But she's, like, against it. But because she loves Aurora, of course she agrees. Y'all, let me tell y'all something. The graphics in this movie, what? Even as they're walking across the river, because she's Maleficent and she's powerful, she's just building a bridge out of tree branches as they walk across. Like, it's just happening.
Yes.
And from there, they get to the dinner, and that is when, like, all hell breaks loose. The queen, from the beginning, has had it out for Aurora being a human and living with the Moors, but also no one likes Maleficent. Everyone is afraid of her. She's the big bad monster. Like, she's the worst. But you find out later on in the movie that all of it was a story that was made up by the queen. But let me tell you something. The writers of this movie, or if I don't know if this is how the fairy tale is really supposed to go, but the fact that they bridged these fairy tales together seamlessly like that was amazing.
Yes.
So there are a lot of action scenes. There is a part where, so I'll just pick out some parts that I really do love. So they make Maleficent out to be as if she tried to kill the king. But in all actuality, it was the wife. Which you find out that, of course, she is the one who put Prince Aurora to sleep and made her Sleeping Beauty. So it is just this woman that's been terrorizing the Moors for years. Which, I'm just going to say this because y'all know I always bring stuff up like this. These white women out here be acting up sometimes. I'm just going to put that out there. This is, what is it? This is, I don't know, because it's like Telephone Sally, whatever their names are, like, you know, Get It Betty, or all these names that be out here. I don't know, we got to think of something for the queen, because she's like the worst.
Yeah,
okay?
she was the worst.
She is the worst. And so, what you find out, though, is that there is, and it's a unique way you find out, there are more people who are like Maleficent. And it's a whole community of people who have had to go into hiding because the humans were killing them. Now, let me tell you something. These are some fine people. These people that are
good-looking people in
man,
that world.
all of them. From the men, the women, all the women were beautiful. All the men were muscular. Like, what's happening right now? And all the kids were cute. I said, well, it's all right then. So, but it was beautiful to see Maleficent they actually found her because she was actually the queen to plan that someone was to kill her. And they tried to kill her, but she got saved by someone that was another creature just like her. And this is when she learns that you're not alone, you're not the last one. We've just been in hiding because we've been in exile because they've been trying to kill us. So the leader of these type of people like her, he is from 12 Years a Slave. Do not know his name right now. Sherelle will put it in the comments because I'm gonna forget. But I'll try to remember. But he is over them. And he wants peace. The crazy part is, so does the king. But the queen doesn't want peace. So that's why she put the king to sleep, so she can incite awfulness and kill off all the Moors and all the people all the beings that they call creatures. And so really I will say that as this movie is just happening, you're really just experiencing the hatred that the queen has for anyone that's not like her, or just anyone that is not her. Her life is very selfish. Everything she does is about what she thinks and what she feels is right. And then Maleficent, she is a great example of acting out of hurt, frustration, confusion, being deemed something that she's not, being all based off of how she looks. So and her wanting and knowing that she's not those things. But it's almost like you create this person because you are saying that they're all those things. You're treating them like they're all those things. So then what do? Okay then. And I'm powerful, so that's about to happen. So just the movie is full of so many colors. There's so much imagination that's happening, giving life to like little mushrooms and giving life to those little those flowers that are just little white puff balls, giving life to them, like just the creativity that's in this music. The music scores, amazing. Like I just can't get past it. The graphics, they're so real. Everything looks so lifelike. Like there's this land is like somewhere and we just never visited it. Like that's how it feels. And I felt like all the actors did well. I don't feel like there was anyone that I was like, they could have done better. Yeah. Everybody was well. The cast was diverse. It was very diverse on each side. Like it was. So that was something I really did appreciate them having that. And then, yeah. So but it was just it was a classic fight of good and evil. And then sometimes realizing that what looks good is actually evil, and what looks evil is actually good. You just don't know. You just don't know.
You don't know.
So yes, but for fear of talking even longer, let me pass the mic.
Oh, girl. Okay. This movie was so good. It was beautiful. As Chocolate just said, it was so visually interesting and creative. There was a lot going on. I will say that. A whole lot. You have the main story and a million backstories. So like you have this is Aurora and the prince. Are they gonna get married? Is it gonna happen? What's gonna happen after this shady meal? Because let me tell you, that when the families got together, that dinner was so shady.
Man,
that queen was shading and reading the mess out of Maleficent.
Dinner mug.
So after this shady meal, what is Maleficent going to do to this queen? Why is this queen coming at Maleficent like this? What's going to happen with that interaction? What? The king passed out. He's asleep. Is he dead? Is he done for the whole movie? Is he going to come back? What's going to happen with that? What? So now Maleficent has a whole entire, like, lineage?
Where did these people
come from? Where were they? Who are they? Who are they to Maleficent? What does this mean now? And so what does the queen actually want all together? And it's just a lot of stories within this one story. And I love stuff like that. I think that's really cool. And they tied it in together nicely. Like Brittany said, it's this battle between good and evil and deciding how to fight. Whether you want to take the peaceful route and fight good with good, or do you want to fight using force, killing everybody? What is the best way? What's the best route? So those questions were posed in the movie as well. They had this, lately it's been a trend to have like this little obnoxious animal that's the best friend. Usually it talks and it has a lot of funny lines. If it don't talk, it does a lot of cutesy stuff. So they brought one of those little animals in. This thing looked like Sonic the Hedgehog, but it wasn't blue. It was brown.
I think it was a thistle. Not a thistle. What are them sticky things that a sticky bush?
Is that what it was?
It looked like a little sticky bush thing.
I don't know, but he looked like Sonic.
He did.
He looked, and they did the gold coin too. Like when At the beginning when he took Maleficent's crown and was rolling in it like Sonic.
I didn't even think about that.
I didn't either. There's this guy on YouTube. His name is I think it's something comic movie review. He's a comic and he does movies reviews, and he hit me to a lot of stuff that I didn't notice before, and there was a lot of funny stuff within that movie, so it just had me cracking up. But that was one thing that had me cracking up, was that Sonic the Hedgehog thing, and I just was like, he looked just like he balled up in a ball.
That's so true. I would have never thought about that.
So that was really cool, right? Then there you have the evil queen. This movie, and this was something else he hit me to, but
so over her.
Look, they had a whole like mass murder, couple of them. They locked the Moors in a church and plays music that blows out poison gas and locks them in there with the poison gas that pretty much kills them off.
Y'all. It was sadistic.
It was sadistic, but in a playful way. Like, it's still something kids could watch. So they went from being like cartoonish, live beings to being plant life. Can't talk, can't show emotion. So it goes from being able to show emotion, can talk, can sing, can move around, to once they're connected with this poisonous gas, they turn into plants. So the evil queen really set them up, set all of the creatures in the Moors to come to her castle for Aurora's wedding to be killed. And they stayed that way. You know, in movies like this, usually they go back to being their creatures that they were before. And everybody lives a happily ever after life. But not in this movie. They said, you're done in this town.
You're done.
You're done. You're a plant now forever. So they had that. But then, too, when there was the actual war, that the queen used that same gas, which was iron and some kind of poison from the fields that the fairies gave off when they died. They used that with iron. And they use that to attack Maleficent and her family. And when they got hit with that gas, they didn't come back. They fell and did not come back. So it's like violence without blood.
That's what it was. They were like, were they disappearing? The people that were like Maleficent, didn't they disappear?
I remember, it's been too long. They either disappeared or they just fell to a death, but it didn't look, it wasn't gruesome.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing because it was, when you think of it like that, it's kind of horrific.
It's really horrific. It's like she was like Hitler.
Yeah.
She was literally Hitler.
But it didn't look scary. They made it like a puff of smoke. It was colorful. You know,
and then they just disappeared.
You know, they were done and they were done, like they were dead. So it was a crazy take on this movie.
Man, that's deep.
Yeah, he brought me to that one too.
It's a mass murder.
Yeah,
it's literally a mass murder.
Like really, like lock the Moors in a church, lock them in there, and every time the lady hit the organ,
well, now one key.
All of that poisonous smoke came out and they could not get out. No. They just died or turned into plant life.
Turned back into a real tree. Mm-hmm. Turned back into flowers. Mm-hmm.
Crazy, right? Let me tell you, Angelina Jolie was serving looks. Makeup, flawless, costumes, flawless, hair, wigs was on point. Like, she looked gorgeous.
Man.
She looked gorgeous in this. She was giving me, and the acting was great. However, she was giving me like Johnny Depp vibes. With her facial expressions. Like, she would do stuff like, you know, them real, I don't know, he used to do it in, when he played the Mad Hatter.
Okay.
Like, random, or even the Wizard of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, when you do them random facial expressions out of nowhere. She was giving those vibes.
Mm-hmm. I can see that
in this movie. But it was cool to see some depth from her. I would have liked to have seen a little more from Aurora and the Prince.
I can see that.
They kind of were like, they were surface level parts, but good nonetheless. There was more. But this queen, she played the mess out of that role.
There's so much. Michelle Pfeiffer made you, that's her name, made you hate her.
Michelle Pfeiffer is so great.
Oh, she made you hate her.
Oh. But her hair and costume, listen.
Everybody saying about her not looking fine.
She looked good. The way they did those hairstyles and the jewels and the neck.
Let me tell you, if they don't win costume design next year, I know something.
It was
that
so good.
It was amazing.
She was evil. She was so evil. And she had her reason. She did not want the two towns to come together. But Maleficent didn't either. Maleficent wasn't really trying to kill everybody.
Right.
Initially.
Just stay away from us.
Yeah, stay away from us. Alone.
Let you do you, we'll do us. Bye.
Yeah. And she could have killed everybody. Just quite easily.
Listen.
Because she was the most powerful being that lived. But she wasn't trying to be all like that. But the queen didn't care. She said, look, I've been telling this story for years. Had them thinking it was you for years. Listen. It was good. It was good, y'all.
Tell them about the part, because you figured it out during the movie, about her coming back as the dragon. Tell them about the dragon.
So when Maleficent went and met up with her family, they kind of told her where she came from, and how she had it was the dragon,
back I remember,
or was it more
the phoenix?
Phoenix. Okay. Her great grandmother was a phoenix, and she was all powerful. And Maleficent was the last being to have that same power within her. So then the evil queen killed Maleficent. So we thought. And just as we thought she had died, she came back as this huge being.
After Aurora cried on her ashes.
Oh, I didn't peep that. So she cried on her ashes, and then she became the phoenix. And she helped to save her family. Mm-hmm. And that was really cool. Then she left the evil queen to be beat up by some of her family members. And I thought, at first I was like, I wanted Maleficent to get with her, like the evil queen. Like, I wanted them to have a duel, you know?
Yeah, something like that.
But it was cool because Maleficent turned her into a goat later on. Which I thought that was cool. Like, that was just gonna turn you into it. Since that's how you've been acting this whole
like a goat.
You acting like that.
With the jewel necklace.
Yeah. They put that necklace around.
She had that paparazzi jewel.
And then that way she was able to still come to her son's wedding at the end. But she came as a goat.
Listen. Well, she don't be careful. They might cook her up.
Yes.
They might cook her up.
Yes. And it was cool that they woke the dad up. I thought that was cool.
And he was just sleeping.
Yeah. And he came back and was able to spend that time with his son and go to the wedding. I thought it was kind of crazy, like, how they just had this whole big, like, bloodless massacre. And then they're like, we're going to have a wedding right now, right here, where we killed all these people.
We killed these people.
Right here. We're going to turn it into a beautiful place. And we're going to have a wedding right now.
Man.
Before anybody else tries to put a stop to this.
And made it gorgeous.
It was gorgeous.
I'm not down with outside weddings sound like bugs, but I was like, I would have been at this wedding.
Yeah, I would have been at that wedding.
It was gorgeous.
So it was really cool to see. I love, like she mentioned, how they tied both stories in. Like I always say, I love to see how they finessed this story to make it still fit the old story, still keep the integrity of the old story, and then but they have this brand new story that's creative and fun, and they brought a whole lot, a little bit of everything in this movie. They threw it all in it, everything but the kitchen sink, and maybe even that too.
Right.
So, but it was really cool, and I love those. These are my favorite types. One of my favorite types of movies to watch because it just makes you feel good.
It does. Even throughout all the bad things that happen, you still feel good.
You still feel good. It's pretty. All the hair and the makeup and the jewels and the this and that, and we also love just that fairy tale story of Prince Charming coming and you guys living happily ever after. Like, you learn as life goes on that story doesn't always play out.
Listen, and I don't wish nobody them kind of in-laws. The queen was the worst future in-law ever in life. She was the worst.
Listen though, did you peep this at that shady dinner? It was a couple things. First off, she was reading Maleficent like crazy, but she served Maleficent bird, and Maleficent is part bird, and Maleficent's like assistant is part bird. So you gonna serve them bird, and you gonna serve it with iron fork and knife when you know Maleficent is allergic to iron.
Y'all ain't got no Dollar Tree in this village. Go get some plastic, some nice filmware.
She set her up from day one, like
from the beginning.
Yeah, and she knew the town was going to just jump on the idea of it being Maleficent who did everything, because people are afraid of what they don't understand, and with her being the most powerful being.
Listen. Dig up all the meanings of this movie,
girl. But you know, I watched. After watching it, I had my own opinions. But then, you know, when I like a movie, I'll go back and do a little more research.
Yeah.
So I watched maybe like 2 reviews, and I'm like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
I told her I didn't want her. She sent me one, and I was like, I'm not watching it until after we do our review. So then my mind could be blown later on with the stuff people picked up.
Yeah.
I was afraid. I was like, I'm not gonna have my own thoughts no more, because there's just so much.
It is.
It's so much.
And you pick up, like, it is crazy. Like, you pick up on your own set of stuff, and you think that you've thought of everything that could have possibly been thought in this movie, but then you listen to somebody else's angle, you be like, what?
I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Alright. So, I loved it. Yeah. So, takeaways.
Man, 8 million. So, I think one thing that you talked about was the church scene. And how, so it makes me think about, and it makes me think about the civil rights movement, right? Just how there has to be, or just any type of movement that has to be a difference. Sometimes there are people who are, their lives are taken, and they have to sacrifice themselves for the greater good. Mm-hmm. And so there were 3 fairies that, if you may remember them from the first Maleficent, they're the ones that have been taking care of Princess Aurora and all that different stuff.
The aunties.
Whatever
she called them.
The one, when she realized that because what it was, that stuff that was coming out was actually from, y'all, this is the crazy part. It was from flowers that were planted from Moors who had passed away. So every Moor who passed away in their little garden, they planted a little flower for them. Do you know they went and dug up, the humans went and dug up this whole garden? Went and dug up the whole garden of flowers, which was the way Princess Aurora, when the prince brought her a flower, she was like, where did you get this from? Because they're only grown over there where the Moors are in their cemetery. And so she used these flowers and made them poisonous. But who made them poisonous? Someone who was a Moor. But
Yeah, she was evil.
She was evil.
She took a Moor to kill the Moor.
Because she had cut off whatever extremities he used to have that made him like that. That made him then think that he was a human. Yeah. But he was not. He was a Moor. It took, so y'all, that's deep in and of itself. How many of us are walking around in the fog and don't know who we are? You're not aware of self. You're not aware, how much of us, and then for this scene to see one of the fairies, she sacrificed her life to save everybody else.
Yeah, she did.
Now, if you're a Christian, you know where that's going, but we're not going to get into that. Now, this is, but she sacrificed herself to make sure that nobody else died. Mm-hmm. Like that right there in and of itself, that was crazy. Also, again, going back to the mindset of people aren't who they appear. All Maleficent was doing was being herself, but you made her seem as though she was this evil being, and she wasn't. She's just something majestic and better than you. So you hate her. So you have to tear her down and create some evil situation about her. Mm-hmm. No. Mm-mm. And then having to see the powers at be being wise. Now I know we ain't been seeing that in the news. Also another conversation we're not going to get into. But seeing the powers that be wise in these two separate kingdoms, right? And the Maleficent's people and him, the king, saying, we need to be peaceful. I believe the humans, we can be peaceful. Maleficent's like, I don't know. There was someone who was like the king's right-hand man of the Maleficent. Let me tell you something. He was ready to die, baby. He said, listen, these humans is out here trying to kill us. I'm going to kill them first. Mm-hmm. So let's just go. But to see the king of this, do not do that. Let's try to have peace. But also see the king of the humans saying, I do not want to fight anymore. Can we just live in peace? This is too much. Let's just be peaceful. And also seeing how you need to do your own research. You need to do your own research and you need to learn about stuff yourself, because you have this whole city of people that the king is over, and the queen has made everybody think that, the Moors are just evil and just all these different things. So everyone's like, I don't want Maleficent coming over. How many times have you heard someone say something about someone you never met? And so now you have this mindset about them. Mm-hmm. Get to know for yourself that this person is a bad person or a good person. You just don't know. You just don't know. And understanding that being different doesn't have to be a bad thing. All of us being different is actually beautiful. It makes things great. But respecting those differences is where we're having an issue. We are having an issue. So, but those different pieces, and seeing how they made, which I thought was pretty interesting, Maleficent's people were very much, what's the word I'm looking for? Tribal is the word I'm looking for. They were very tribal in the way they were doing things. When the king, who did get shot with pellets that were made of iron, and he did eventually pass away, he went back into the earth. And so just them, always when they're speaking of individuals who in these type of movies that are more tribal, just how you're going back to the earth. But so you'll never die, right? It's a circle of life, right? So there's going to be something, like you might go into the grass, but now something is feeding off of you and they're living as a result of eating from this grass, right? So it's just this circle of yes. Life. And just how it goes. And then when Sherelle said, because I didn't think about it at all, when Maleficent, it talks about true love.
Hey, we don't fight. Get out of here.
Oh, what? when Maleficent, when Aurora cried over Maleficent's ashes, it just is a testament to showing that true love will always prevail. Love will always win. No matter what evil that happens, love will always win. We don't know when, we don't know how, but love will always win. Yeah. Peace will always win.
Light always outshines the darkness.
All the time. You put the little baby spotlight on your camera, the whole room is lit back up.
Yep.
It will always win. And so when she came back, because Sherelle was immediately like, she's about to be that dragon. And I was like, she's about to be the dragon. When she came back as that phoenix, and I was like, yes.
We all was happy. Like, forgot we had met in the movie theater.
She came up and she was doing the ring. I was like, girl, serious? I was in the movie like, am I supposed to be this hype right now? I'm so hyped right now. Y'all. And then I thought that she was just going to stay a dragon. I thought she was just going to stay a phoenix. When she became back as Maleficent, I said, oh, I'm so happy she can transition. Because I thought she was just going to be able to had to stay that way from that point on. But her wrecking shop and saying, oh, we're done. And this will not happen anymore. And the king waking up, oh, that was another thing. So the little guy that forgot he was a Moor, thought he was a human, he told Maleficent he brought her the spindle that put Aurora to sleep and that also put the king to sleep. He said curses they can only be, broken. Curses can't be like done away with or something like that. They can only be broken or destroyed or something like that.
Yeah.
And she had to destroy the spindle. And then that helped in terms of the king being able to come back. But so just the fact that certain things, it makes you think of what in my life has been a curse. What generational curses do I have to break? Like, that's the only way that it's going to stop. Like, y'all have a history of debt. Am I going to be the one to break it and cut debt? Y'all have
generational strongholds. Principalities.
Am I going to be the one to break it? Because that's the only way it can happen is if I break it.
Yeah.
Listen. So that's it for me. Y'all can see I was in this movie like, what? Like, I know people don't buy DVDs no more, but I buy that DVD. They still sell them, though.
Good.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm done.
You good. Everything she said. Also, though, like, and I mentioned this already, but, like, well, for those who don't know, my degree is in applied conflict resolution. So,
try to argue with us if you want to.
So, learning the various ways to fight. Sometimes you want to fight with war and fists and you want to be aggressive. Sometimes you want to protest in peace. So sometimes you want to approach it by having a conversation. Sometimes you want to maybe just, what's the word I'm looking for?
Maybe you want to do a little bit of both.
Do a little bit of both. So knowing that there's different styles, we might all want to come to a certain agreement, but we might all do it in a different way. And everybody has their own style, and knowing which style to use when, and understanding that that there's not always a right and wrong answer. Sometimes there is though. And so, them being at war was a thing at one point in time, and it might have been the best thing to keep them safe at a time. And then maybe now peace is in order, harmony is in order, unity is in order. So certain things like that came up that I just thought that I paid attention to, that I thought was pretty cool. What else? Is that everything?
I think this is even learn how to fight with yourself.
Yeah. Sometimes some things are internal. Yeah.
I swear there's more.
There is more. We might, if there's more, we'll do a part 2. But this movie was cool. I liked it. And so, I guess it's candy bar rating now. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
1. Wait. 1, 2, 3.
5.
4.5. It was good, y'all. Can't you tell? Can't you tell?
Alright, what took your 0.5 off?
It was a whole lot going on.
It was a lot.
So I think at times it may have been to the point where it's like, this is hard. I don't want to say hard to follow.
Oh, she might go to the bathroom.
Oh.
Sorry, be right back.
I don't want to say it's hard to follow, but when you have so many different stories going on at once, sometimes it is like, okay, so what's happening? Well, why she go there? Well, when is that going? Well, I thought they was doing this. Well, when are they going to do that? Well, they said this. So it's a lot of that going on during the movie. So that brought it down to a 4.5 for me. Just so very much happening.
Such a lot going on.
And
it's hard to even spoil it because it was 12 stories.
Yeah, it was like 12 stories at once. And I don't know, I'd be tired of that little random animal they got. Like
the little Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, like look that they gotta have that animal and everything, but it's in a different shape. Like Donkey is Shrek. He was that random animal that you just throw in to be the best friend.
Oh,
I'm trying to think of what other movie had that. Just random. We just gonna add this random animal.
They got it. Oh, Mulan, Mushu.
Yeah. I like that little random obnoxious animal for no reason that don't like we're here. So that's it for me.
Okay. Well, y'all know I talk so much this review. I love everything about it. So, and I'm a hard 5 to get. I'd be like, y'all saw I didn't even give my boo a 5. Sorry, boo.
Well, and the other thing for me for 4.5 is I don't feel like it's going to be for everybody.
That's true.
So, you know. But that hasn't always affected my rating, but
yeah.
It was great. They put a lot of hard work into it.
They did.
And it shows.
I wonder how long it took them to make it.
It seemed like years because it's been a long time since they've made the last one.
That's true.
So long that I forgot what the story was. Like, wait a minute, why was Maleficent raised in the world? I had to go back.
Yeah. And my sister did ask me, do I need to see the first Maleficent to see this one? And I told her no, because I don't remember the full Maleficent movie. Like, I remember how I felt, kind of, and that I enjoyed it, but I don't remember it.
They'll kind of tell you certain things, and you'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, she loves her. But why? You'd be like, why do they love each other again?
You get the gist.
So you can watch it without having watched the other one. If you're like me, though, you probably should kind of skim back through your Google and just see what happened loosely. Because this is Sleeping Beauty.
I guess it is.
This is the story of Sleeping Beauty.
That's why Sleeping Beauty don't have dark hair like she did in the fairy tale.
Oh, yeah, she don't.
But we're not going to get into that.
No, we're not. So, that's it, guys.
That's it.
We are out of here with this very long, distracting... there's one of our distractions walking by now.
He's such a cute distraction.
One of our long, distracting reviews. But we hope you guys enjoyed it. Shout out to anybody that watched this whole thing.
Even if you skip through a little bit.
We love you. So, I am Caramel.
And I'm Chocolate.
And we will be back with a new movie review coming soon.
Yes.
Holla.
Peace out.